cited one instance, that affects politicians and politics, not exactly governance. Would you say that this is just a fight between politicians, or they're fighting about issues that have to do with governance and the people?
Yeah, first and foremost, you have to have a government before you have governance. For you to have government, you have to go through the process of election. So the first things first, we have to have good electioneering process that will lead to good governance. Where you have bad electioneering process, obviously it will give a bad byproduct for governance. And that is where we start. That's where we started, and that is where we put a lot of effort. And besides, a lot of other members of the society in Adamawa State have been writing several petitions to EFCC on issues of corruption, on looting of public treasury, and so on and so forth. These things, they've been there since 2008, and the petitions have been there. I did one, many others did.
Against the governor?
Against the governor, so severally. So it is not as if now that the governor has left PDP, he's gone to APC, so some PDP chieftains in Abuja or elsewhere are on a vendetta mission. No, it is what we've been fighting for the past 6 to 7 years that have today reached a crescendo.
What is the situation with the deputy governor?
Well, the deputy governor has been charged by the House of the same misconduct, the same gross misconduct, the same impunity, the same corruption. So the deputy governor, other than what the House charges him, he also ought to, he knows what has been going on with the governor. Everything that happened in the government ought to have gone through the State Executive Council, of which the deputy governor is a member. Did he know these things were happening? If he knew these things were happening, what did he do? Did he take objection to it? If he took objection to it while confidentially, and the governor refused to adhere to him, did he do anything else? And if he did not know that these things were happening as a member of the State Executive Council, then obviously there is no point of him being a deputy governor.
So now they want to impeach both the governor and the deputy?
Yes, because both of them have violated the same rules and constitution of the country.
What happens? I mean, there's an acting chief judge. Is it that the tenure of the chief judge has elapsed, and why do we have an acting one?
Well, you see, the substantive chief judge tenure, he retired, I think it was in December 2011. Yes, I think it was in December 2011. And since then, the governor refused to appoint a substantive chief judge. He will just give this one for 6 months. Then after 6 months, he will give you. After 6 months, he will give. And why? Because he does not like the face of the most senior. There was a letter written by the Chief Justice of the Federation to the governor that this is the man who is supposed to be made the Chief Judge of the state because he is the most senior in the state judiciary. But the governor refused to do so. Some of us, we made a lot of press conferences to attack this thing. Now, the governor is doing so because the governor wants to use the judiciary on issues like this, if they happen, and he is not without intelligence, the governor, certainly. He knew what he was doing. He knew the strategy he had employed in order to make the judiciary and the entire system work for him in the most absurd way, getting you acting chief judge for 6 months, then changing. This is where we are in Adamawa. So the impunity that is being done against the state has also affected adversely the judiciary itself. And no people of good standing can allow such a regime to remain in office.
Is that what the people feel, or politicians, a section of politicians feel that way?
If today you go to Adamawa and conduct polls about the administration, I can assure you, you will get probably above 90, just to be conservative, above 90 of the people of Adamawa State that are certainly tired of what is happening. And you just need to go to that state. There is absolutely, the state has been put in a crunch. We have fallen on our knees, infrastructurally, security-wise, politically, economically. The state, Adamawa State, has collapsed. That is for sure.
But you know, some of them who say that there seems to be some external influence also questioned why the account of the state government will be frozen.
Well, you see, I heard that the account of the state government have been frozen by the EFCC, but I also know for a fact that the EFCC, I think a day or 2 or 3 days ago, had asked the Commissioner of Finance and the Accountant General to draw up their salaries in order to pay salaries, and that they took it to the governor to sign in order to pay salaries. The governor said no, he will not sign, on the ground that it is not just the civil servants that are Adamawa people, that either you defreeze the accounts and we do everything, or you freeze the account and we do nothing. He was not going to sign for salaries alone without other things. So this is the situation. Now, I don't know the real legal position of freezing account and defreezing account by the EFCC. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't want to go into that. But I know for a fact that the State Commissioner for Finance and the Accountant General, they have taken vouchers to the governor on the agreement with the EFCC so as to pay salaries of the people of Adamawa State, but the governor staunchly refused to do so, that they should have to do it all.
But some people will agree with him. I mean, if you look at the statement, yes, the people of Adamawa State are not civil servants alone. There are a lot of other people who will depend on development projects.
Yes. If the government had been doing those development projects, we would have agreed with this position. But even when the accounts were open and they were doing everything, we did not see the development. There is not one single road in Adamawa State that is good, including the road that leads to the Lamido's Palace and to the government house itself. I'm not creating this thing because I oppose the governor. No, I'm saying it because it's a reality. There is no road, there is no water, there is nothing in Adamawa State. Adamawa State has gone into a crunch.
You mean, you mean that the people of Adamawa State have borne this for 8 years?
They have borne this They have borne this for 8 years and even more, and they are still likely to borne this for more years, except people of good standing, probably myself and others, that will come and say, no, we do not agree. We have been, you see, when the governor was in the good books of the party and the presidency, when we made these issues known, there was a meeting in which all the stakeholders of Adamawa were brought, and to meet with the party national working committee, in which the president, the vice president, and the governor and so many others were present. I raised those issues.